Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Mike Washington's out on assignment, so we decided to pull in another extraordinaire and double team. We made essentially we're gonna make Sports Rap do double time this week at least once. So welcome to episode 804 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports for institutions large and small, from the NEIA to the NCAA. Boy, talking about the NEIA, HBCU AC. We share the insight and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs in the business of HBCU sports. In short, we just call it HBCU sports pedagogy. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, along with my co-host, Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Again, Mike Washington is out on assignment. We're going to check on him to make sure he's doing right. But we do have Charles Bishop, as you see on the team. Charles, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Doc. It's good to be in on this rainy afternoon. But enjoying the day. My yard needed it. I got fertilizer there.
Oh, good. You got a little voice thing there. We'll see if we can work it out. That's not too bad, but it might be the weather, internet not letting you be all the way great, but not too bad at all. We'll keep pushing through it. We also, as I said, we have the full set, if you would. First, Brian Fulford and AD Drew from Sports Rap joining us on a Tuesday. Charles probably logging out, logging back in to make sure he gets straight. He's trying to deal a little bit with the StreamYard and playing different metaverses, as they would have it out there, whatever they like to call it these days, Brian and AD. But before things, we are filming from our home studios and sending a signal live to KSOH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, Ralph Cooper, in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston. Got Charles back. With that being said, AD Drew, how you doing today?
Waiting gang. Some personal things going on. Waiting on that phone call. Everybody on here know. Well, heck, I'll put it out here. Another grandchild on the way. So waiting on that. And of course, children have no sense of time because they come right during the middle of SIAC championship season. So, trying to balance that along with just life in general, bro. It's fun.
Well, congratulations to the family. Certainly say prayers for health and happiness. But you're absolutely right. Some individuals have their own timing of when they decide to show us joy to the world, which we certainly appreciate. It was funny though, Charles. Charles got a little excited when he said that he was wondering if you was still putting in work. Maybe. And offline, we're gonna leave that one offline.
The response just stay between us.
I will tell you this: the response was classic. Before we get ourselves in more hot water, how are you doing today, Brian?
Just think Allen Iverson. That's all I'm gonna say.
We talking about practice.
Doing well, Doc, man. Thanks for the invite. It's been a while since I've been in the lab. So,
we get nervous. We thought you had cut us off and, that we didn't pay some fees or bills or something,
Man, just busy life. You know, basketball season is over, and then I'm able to kind of be a part of some of the other midweek things outside of the stuff that I do, you know, on Sunday and Wednesday night. So yeah.
Did you catch Charles doing the golf? You know,
you know what? I did not. I did hear the all the buzz regarding the great interview that he had with Doc, but no, I did not catch you know, the golf coverage.
I'm gonna have to talk to Charles offline. I don't know if they pulled that down a little bit now. I can't find it now. I done went back, watched the golf, heard Charles sound pretty well, pretty good, better than pretty well. But you know, I don't want to give him too credit. He had already given up. But yeah, it was good. AD Drew, you about to get into double duty time also in terms of SIEC. It's coming down, closing out on the regular season, time to get some tournaments in here, right?
Yes, sir. Actually, golf and track are going on simultaneously in the SIEC right now. Golf ends tomorrow and track ends on Thursday. So
we'll have some championships to announce on Thursday out of the SIEC.
Yeah, and you know, just not to be tooting our own horn, but we are in a damn good position to pull the Commissioner's Cup for this year.
Congratulations.
You supposed to toot that. Yeah, it's not tooting your horn. That's just stating fact.
You know, if track does what we expect Morehouse track to do, it should pretty much be in our hands. But you know, I will say this, total transparency. Spring Hill could come along and sweep everything outside of track in the spring and put themselves, because if you look at the sports that they dominate,
you know, they trying on their way out.
They dominate.
I was gonna say pretty much you won't have to worry about that, but yeah, you know.
And Albany State also, if they have, because they did win football back in the fall,
right.
If they have a good spring, which they baseball will have a good chance, and their track is competitive also. So it's not locked yet, but you know, it's between the three of us right now on the men's side for the Commissioner's Cup.
Good job.
Do they give out rings when you win the Commissioner Cup?
I wish they gave a bonus check is what I wish they gave, but no, they don't give you anything but a big old trophy.
Oh, okay.
And you got to wait until football media day to get it.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, they make you wait a little bit when all the lights are on, though. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, expansion, conference churning is always in the news. With that being said, especially if you talk about HBCU AC, boy, they have putting in work. Every time we look up, they are putting in work, and Dr. Kiki Baker Barnes has another one. This one is out of Texas. If you were listening closely to AD Drew about a week ago, maybe two, he alluded to this, but I don't think for those that are into that thing regularly may have paid attention to it. But good job, AD Drew. You need to go do the lottery, play some spades, dominoes, Las Vegas, whatever. All I know is when Brian asked you for the numbers, make sure y'all call me because I'm doubling up. With that being said, Jarvis Christian University, I had the opportunity to meet the president when I was down in New Orleans for an event they put together for several HBCUs, I should say, in regards to their teacher education preparation program. So she's good. And that's Dr. Glenelle M. Lee Pruitt as part of the president and leadership team that put this together. But Jarvis Christian University, JCU, has been unanimously approved by the membership of HBCU Athletic Conference. HBCU AC, that's a big deal. When you talk about 15 minutes, you get everybody to say affirmative. The conference's council of presidents announced today, beginning with the 26-27 academic year next year, JCU will compete as the conference 16-member institution. Their addition is a landmark moment for both the university and the broader HBCU athletic community, as the HBCU becomes the largest HBCU sports league in the nation. Congratulations. HBCU Conference Office made the official announcement during a press conference on Tuesday. Dr. Glenelle M. Lee Pruitt, president of Jarvis Christian University, Mr. Bobby Ladner, Athletic Director, HBCU AC Commissioner, Dr. Kiki Baker Barnes spoke about the move and its impact on the league, the institution, and HBCU sports. Quote, Jarvis Christian University is a distinguished institution with a proud legacy of academic excellence, community impact. We are thrilled to welcome JCU into the HBCU AC family. Their membership strengthens our conference's commitment to providing HBCU student athletes with the highest level of competition, collaboration, and opportunity. This is a proud day for our entire conference, end quote. That's from Kiki Baker Barnes. Jarvis Christian President, Dr. Lee Pruitt. Moving to become a part of the HBCAC is historically in its precedence as Jarvis Christian University becomes our 115-year educating students. Additionally, it allows for increased camaraderie and competition, which institutions that reflect mission and visions align with our institutions. Our students will see in these competitions the same students they befriend at leadership conferences that empower them to do and be their best. This is exciting indeed. So pretty fascinating. Athletic Director Bob Ladner highlighted the alignment of values between JCU and the conference. Quote, we are excited and thankful to our president and administration for the direction and challenge to elevate our athletic programs. This new HBCU-AC conference is built upon equality, fair competition, collaboration. It is a culture that fits Jarvis, accepts Jarvis, and allows Jarvis to pour back into our student athletes and students in such a well-deserved way. We can be leaders in this new athletic landscape and are excited for this opportunity, end quote. Big movement, big time, big time, big time. We'll take a moment here, get some thoughts. This is big news in terms of HBCU-AC. As now you have all these members out of Texas that helps in terms of travel. You can even get into pods in some sport where you have all 16 members. So this will be fascinating to kind of see how Dr. Kiki Baker Barnes will go in terms of scheduling opportunities and things of that nature. But Charles, any thoughts you have in terms of this announcement, as we always like to opine, as I like to talk about it from this perspective, conference journey?
Yeah, I think the HBCU AC, they continue to expand their footprint, as you talked about, especially in regards to some things they can do from a scheduling standpoint. But I kind of focused in on a statement that the President Glenell Emily Pruitt stated. Additionally, it allows for increased camaraderie and competition with institutions that reflect missions and visions that align with our institutions. Our students will see in these competitions the same students they befriend at leadership conferences that empower them to do their best. Just being a part of another conference that looks like you. So I think that's huge. I mean, there's a big way of saying, we're in this HBCU AC conference. We get to extend our rivalries with teams and competition that look like us.
Certainly. Brian, your thoughts?
I continue to be amazed at where and how this conference has grown. Being able to think back to 5-6 years ago when the conference formerly known as the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference, we talked about on air, off screen, this conference, would it survive? Would it be able to continue moving forward? And not only have they moved forward, but they have rebranded, reimagined, or reimaged, maybe both, themselves, and they have expanded to what you said, dare I say, a super conference? I mean, come on now. I mean, what are we talking about here?
It's hard not to call 16 members a super.
Yeah, it's hard not to. And with the advent of HBCU ACTV, they're streaming and digital platforms now. They're making themselves more available so their student athletes can be seen more on a nationwide perspective. I mean, they're doing it right. I mean, all this is happening right under our noses, right at the NAIA level, and once again proving that the NAIA is a legitimate, strong conference or division, league, as it has been for years. So congratulations to everybody within the HBCU AC.
AD, I'll let you take it away. Your final thoughts on this. You on mute.
Brian hit on the first point that I was going back to 2020 when this conference was on life support, and we were talking about where is this conference going, and just the vision of Dr. Kiki Baker Barnes. And think about it, the conference has doubled since then. It has literally doubled. It was at 8 pre 2020. Now you're at 16, and about 5 of those institutions that have stuck around, 4 or 5. I'd have to look at it and see how many of those have stuck around. But what does it say for the Red River Athletic Conference now, with Jarvis leaving and Xavier leaving for the Southern States Athletic Conference this upcoming year? Also, that only leaves Texas College as the only HBCU left in the Red River Athletic Conference. How long is Texas College going to stay there? Or is this a package deal and we just opened the first package? I'm just putting it out there. We knew the word around Jarvis with them making the move. Now Texas College, because now they sticking out like a sore thumb in that particular conference, and bringing Texas College over, especially giving the, dare I say it, the inconsistency of UVI in the HBCU AC, gives you a stronger 16 with Texas College coming in, and then UVI could be that 17th member that when they could compete and they make the minimum requirements, they still compete for championships. But that still gives you 16 teams on the continental United States to compete if Texas College comes over.
To close that out in terms of that final framework. And that's the question: is this a package deal, and will we hear something relatively short with Texas College? And the point that you made with the Red River Athletic Conference, particularly with Xavier leaving. So yeah, it'd be fascinating to kind of see what that looks like. Before we close out on this, is AD saying Texas College is the fly now? Oh wow. He didn't say that. You said that, Edwin.
You said that, Edwin.
Alabama State, before we close it out, they claimed SWAC's women's tennis tournament. If you hadn't heard, the men, they did the double-double. Men got a 2, and that's 5 in a row for the men. So it's big time there. Get a chance maybe take a deeper dive at the end of the show, highlight some names and college athletes that got it done. But big time victory for them to crown and defeat Jackson State in that championship. With that being said, let's take our first break. Did I get that wrong, Charles?
Oh, no. It just made me think of something I wanted to say with regards to Jackson State, friend of the show. Denise Jones-Gregory.
Yeah, I was gonna point that out as an academic. Yeah. I was gonna let this slide. Okay. I was gonna give more time, but I will let you do the duty because that needs to be announced. You're right.
Yeah, the Board of Trustees of the State of Institution of Higher Learning named Denise Jones-Gregory as the 14th full-time president of Jackson State University on April 16th. So definitely want to send congratulations out to Dr. Jones-Gregory for her ascension to being full-time president now.
And she came out of what academic area?
I'm not sure the academic area. I believe
communication.
I want to say chemistry.
Chemistry. Okay.
Yeah, I want to say that was our undergrad major, but I have to be sure with regards to bio.
No doubt. But with that being said, congratulations. Climbing the academic ladder all the way to presidents after having as the interim says a lot in terms of how she was able to steady the ship, move things forward, and get the vote of confidence in terms of getting acknowledged. Now the 14th president of I love Jackson State University.
Is she the first female?
No. Dr. Elaine Hayes Anthony was president there for a time at Jackson State.
Okay.
They've had a couple of them. This is third.
Mm-hmm.
At least two, I think maybe three. But yeah, Jack State has been ahead of that curve. Good question though there. Let's take our first break, come back on the other side, and get back into the sports. It's time to look at the top 5 mid-major poll rankings for week number 6. We'll be right back after this next break.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically Black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a lot, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Charles Bishop, Brian Fulford, and A.D. Drew. The professors are in the building, and we're about to go to work because I'm going to get inside the mind of these three gentlemen.
Before we get into softball, can we hit this breaking news, Dr. Cavil?
Oh, you got some breaking news?
Yeah.
What you got?
Per Liv Antilla, aka is Liv for Hoops. That should be her new nickname, Liv Scheffler, because that's what she looks like, Adam Scheffler, with this breaking news. Lane College has hired Barry Wellington as their head coach. He was most recently the head coach at Russ College. Previous stops include Arizona Christian, Lane College, Christian Brothers University, Cumberland's, Lamar State College, Port Arthur.
Good update.
That's men's basketball, correct?
That's men's basketball. And of course, we she broke yesterday that Mike Davis is set to become the new head coach at Valley.
That should be an interesting one for those swag heads out there.
and Brian,
you pull out some
talk about that Sunday, Brian. We checked through the boxes we talked about Sunday, Brian.
Yeah, I mean,
Mike
it was going to take some. It was going to take somebody with some brand name value to turn. Yeah, either that or a big bag.
Now, I will say this: it'll be interesting from my perspective in terms of obviously Valley's going to make as much as commitment as they can, but when he was doing his things at Texas Southern University, the resources weren't an issue. Now, obviously, he still found a way to get additional stuff. So that's, to me, the big question. How much is he able to have his magic with what resources Valley can provide? But in terms of bringing in a brand name that's done it before and somebody that can say, if I get these resources, I can deliver this. You've seen me do it before in this league. So sometimes that allows folks to reach a little deeper than they usually do.
It's interesting how people sleep on Mississippi with basketball. So
yeah, does Mike Davis count as a retread?
I don't know how y'all define retreads because I'm trying to figure that out. So I don't know how to answer
You've seen the number of
because y'all say
jobs that he has had,
and then folks get to go and y'all don't go. I very seldom actually have an instant where there are actually that many retreads that are hired in the league. But
I will say this about I will say this about the retread argument. Give me a retread that has some wins, championships under his tires than a retread that's just been spinning.
I do want to get in this poll, but I want to ask this question. What is the last retread that y'all are talking about?
I'm not talking about it. It's other people out there talking about it.
I just heard it. When is the conference had the last? What is the last retread?
It's such a negative connotation.
You talk about somebody coming back.
I agree.
It's usually somebody that's won in the league, so that's why somebody else is taking the chance. So that definition is that where you gonna go there, Charles? I saw you look. I read. I was gonna make sure you.
I mean, there's such a negative connotation with retread, but if there is a championship coach that was sitting out there, why not?
Why wouldn't you want him?
That doesn't bother me to quote unquote get a retread. So I'm always curious as to when people go nuts about a retread.
And I guess for me, when I think of retread, I think of the coach who has not gotten over the top and gotten to that ultimate level, but we
have not seen that in this conference in 15 years. We can retire
in basketball.
We haven't seen it in football.
Okay, if y'all say so.
Who? Damn it! Only close person you can talk about is Pine Bluff that went to Alcorn and he walked away from it.
Well, does retread count or in conference, or can he have come from somewhere else and been mediocre, average where he was previously?
No, for me, it's got to be
retread. It had to be in the conference. How can you be a retread from somewhere else?
I don't know. Just because you've been spinning your tires in another league.
Y'all got to define this. Y'all just making it up. You don't have us have a whole segment on this. Let me get this poll rankings. Bring up the top 5. Luckily, there's not a lot of changes here. We can get this in here.
Leave it to the professor to get the class back in shape.
Yeah, dropping out this week. Not anybody. Receiving votes was Everwater Tigers. They're 26-18 overall, 15-9. And Stillman Tigers, 23-18, 19-2. That is out of the SIEC and the HBCU AC. Let's get in the top 5, where we do have changes, but everybody stays in the top 5. Starting with number 5 is the first change. Is the Dillard Blue Devils fall, actually. 1 spot. They're 22-11, 19-2, 35 points. Previous rank 4. We have number 4, which is Claflin Tigers out of the CIAA. 22-11, 11-1, 37 points. They were previous ranked 5 and went on a win streak in their conference play. So they move up 1 spot to number 4, previous being 5. At number 3, Savannah State Tigers, 25-15, 15-9, 42 points. They stay in the 3 spot. Bringing us to number 2, Albany State Golden Rams are 31-9, 30 wins. Good job. 19-5, 1 first place vote. They did lose a first place vote, 58 points. but they stay in the 2 spot. You have number 1 Tuskegee Golden Tigers sit at 32-7, 30+ wins again, 21-1, just 1 conference loss, 6 first place votes, 68 points, playing some really good softball. Tuskegee is getting it done. I'm gonna start with you, AD Drew. What are your thoughts in terms of the top 5, Mr. Retread?
I guess if I go from podcast to podcast, if after I get quit fired, I'll be a retread podcast host too. So anyway, number 1, number 2, number 3, really don't have a big argument with those. Don't really have a big argument with the poll itself. Claflin, CIAA, still don't understand CIAA scheduling and how they do it. But they getting games in some way, somehow.
I think they do some type of pod stuff, AD. I'm still trying to figure it out myself, though.
Playing video games or something. I don't know.
Pop up with 4 or 5 games, you like, oh, where'd they come?
Yeah. Dillard, interesting, batting .366 on the season with a 4.11 ERA. So that usually puts you up there in the rankings. 19-2 is impressive. Also, the only thing possibly that you could look at is flip-flopping Claflin and Savannah State. Claflin with the better conference and overall winning percentage. So you can make an argument of flipping those 2. Other than that, I'm good with it, though, Doc.
I can see that. Brian, where are you with the top 5?
I have no hill to die on. Congratulations, Tuskegee. All I can do.
You got to say something different.
I know. All I can do is just.
I'm talking about Charles. Charles like that.
All I can do is look at the averages and just let it play out. Wait to see. If
Monica Rose, that's all you need to know when you say Tuskegee.
Who's gonna beat Spring Hill? That's what I want to know. Is it Tuskegee? Is it Albany State, Savannah, or neither? None of the above. That's all I want to know.
Can I answer that?
Yes, Tuskegee.
Tuskegee's 1 loss is to Spring Hill. Spring Hill's 2 losses are to Tuskegee.
Talk to me. Talk heavy. I tried to tell it.
All right.
It's baseball you thinking about, Brian. Charles, what are your thoughts?
Let me. Can I see those receiving votes? Because I'm curious about one team.
Edward Water Tigers 26-18, 15-9. As well as Stillman Tigers 23-18 and 19-2.
Okay, yeah, that was the one I was looking for was Stillman because Stillman they've won 7 in a row, and I was just curious as to where they were.
They hot.
Within the past. They're 19-2 as well. So I saw that Dillard was 19-2 in conference play. So that was the one. That was probably the only one that I was really kind of sitting back looking at, like, wonder where Stillman was in regards to trying to chase down Dillard for the number 5 spot.
I like that. Let me see if I can jump this up. I want to see if they played each other. I don't know if I.
That's what I was trying to go back through here real quick and see where they've seen each other during the course of the season, and they did. They dropped 2 of 3 to Dillard all the way back in February. So
see, my computer does this thing. It looks at all of them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I knew it was close, but Stillman Tigers are hot right now. So sometimes it's better to be hot late in the season than not. But that would be a nice matchup between the two to fight it off again to kind of get that final swing in pitches to get it done. AD,
you talked about Stillman winning 7 in a row. Dillard has won 6 in a row quietly, Charles. So they're right there with them.
Okay.
So
yeah, winning that series earlier. Go ahead, Brian.
Let me ask this regarding the poll. Now, obviously, Stillman, Dillard being part of the NAIA and the HBCU AC. Is there any type of voter bias that's happening right now? Or do you think the voters are purely looking at 2 teams that have 30-something wins? I'm just curious. I think
that's a fair question, but let me say this first. anybody that tells you a human poll ranking doesn't have bias, don't use the poll. Exactly. Yeah, don't use the poll. They can't be admit for that. You're gonna have some bias in there. The question is, what are they biased to? Sometimes I would think in some of these polls, there's probably a natural bias for a lot of folks because they've seen them so much more, a little more history in some of the programs, particularly in athletics, towards the Division II programs versus NIA. And then, like you said, there's probably some natural bias when you have teams with 30 wins. People naturally are going to be like, oh, they got to be pretty good. So I think there's some of that in there. But I think mostly most voters kind of look at matchups head to head. And then you have the natural thing, even though it's a week to week, you still have the fact where teams started. And that's going to give people a little bit of, unless they just kind of fall off the map, it's always going to get them, the start of the line. So, yeah, great question, great point there.
And when you look at, just take Tuskegee to talk about bias, they beat Stillman, who's receiving votes 2 games back in February. They beat another good team in Faulkner. They beat they beat 1, 2, 3 CIAA teams back in February, Lincoln, Bluefield, and Claflin. So that should put them ahead of them. They lost to Alabama State 6-4, but they split with Alabama A&M. So, I don't believe I'm saying this. Well, it's women's sports, so I can say this. Tuskegee has a resume.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good one. Way to put it out there. We'll be right back after this next break. We'll come back on the side and see if we have the same kumbaya with the major division power rankings top 5. We'll be right back after this break. Charles.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
When it comes to professional learning, teachers deserve better. From the leader in online learning, Stride brings you the Stride Professional Development Center, an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that gives teachers choice and flexibility, allowing them to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. It's time you take charge of your learning. Visit us today to get started.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna law, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Labs. We here with the professor. That's Professor Drew, Professor Bishop, Professor Fulford. I do like everyone's comments here. We have moved to the coaches who played in NFL these days and no head coaching experience. Certainly not retread.
I have a definition of retread.
Okay.
A retread coach is a sports head coach who is hired for a new head coaching position after previously being fired from a similar role, often mixed with connotations of having proven experience or being uninspired or used option. They are seasoned leaders, distinct from first-time coaches, and are often hired to provide immediate stability or institutional knowledge.
I like that definition. I'll use that. And so now the challenge is for all those lab listeners out there, name me the last retread coach in the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
I think somebody put it in here. Comegy was one.
Comegy was not fired.
Okay, that takes that one out of it. Give me a minute.
All right, let's pull up the major division.
Dude wasn't fired either. So, yeah.
That's why I said most of them wasn't fired. Most of these folks are not fired.
Mm-hmm.
They leave for other opportunities and they come back and then people are just mad because they wanted.
They leave before they get fired.
Oh boy!
I'm sorry. Too much truth today. Huh? Dropping out this week, Southern Jaguars. Charles gonna continue to laugh at this. 29-13, 15-6. Southern Jaguars fall out. Only played 2 this week. It's not so much in terms of what they were not able to do, but what some other teams did in terms of having stellar weeks. A lot of sweeps this past weekend. With that being said, let's go to receiving votes. Pretty deep this week on the receiving votes side. We got a couple of other teams that have gotten the mix. Receiving the votes are Southern Jaguars, 29-13, 15-6. So they just outside of the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Delaware State, they're in striking distance, as they say. Delaware Hornets, 23-16, 12-6. They've gone on a hot streak. They've kind of moved up in terms of the rankings, even though they're outside of the top 5. South Carolina State Bulldogs, 18-17, 11-8. Struggled a little bit with 54 points, along with Norfolk State Spartans that were in the top 5 a couple of weeks ago, but they keep trending in the wrong direction. Still 20 wins, 8-20-18, 10-8, as they get the final team in the receiving votes component. Let's get in the top 5. Top 5, Texas Southern Tigers remain in top 5. They stay in the top 5. 25 wins, 25-10, 14-6, 70 points in the top 5. Bringing us to number 4. We go to the Eastern Division. A lot of folks like the East. Jackson State Tigers, 23-18, 14-6, 71 points, not ranked. They kind of bounced back, had a little down week a couple of weeks ago after a lot of folks thought should be in the poll. They came back with a vengeance this week, getting it done with some big wins. So they're 23-18, 14-6, right there behind teams in the Eastern Division at the top, but they sit at number 4. Bringing us to number 3. Florida A&M Rallies sit at 26-17, 17-4, one first place vote, 79 points, ranked number 1 a couple of weeks ago, but actually ranked 3 last week, and they stay in the 3 spot. Bringing us to number 2. Prairie View A&M Panthers sit at 25-14, 17-1, 3 first place votes, 83 points, ranked number 2 in the matchup there. Bringing us to number 1. All these teams were from the SWAC, but guess who's number 1?
Right.
They're out of the MEAC. Howard Bison, 25-14, 7-1, dominating the MEAC. They have won a championship this past weekend after a sweep. 5 first place votes, 85 points. Howard Bison, a number 1. Goes back a little bit to what they did in the HBCU Classic. They fared really well in terms of what they matched up. They have a victory over FAMU, although they do have a loss in terms of that matchup. So Howard looking pretty good at the top. Fascinating to see what people – I'm going to go with Brian. It really likes to bring up the West and the East in softball. Charles did it first out the box in terms of football, but thankfully there's a team west of the Mississippi, furthest team in the SWAC, Prairie View, to decide to show up for the Western Division and kind of come back home and put the crown on as Daddy is back, founding member of the SWAC, the state that we might do some football business in the West now. We'll see what that looks like moving forward. But I'm going to start with Brian since we're talking softball. Brian, where are you with this top 5?
Well, okay, so I had to take off my Eastern bias glasses and put on these ridiculously, prescription frames that I have on. And you know what? My eyes tell me one thing about the East versus the West and versus the MEAC, right? Because I do think there's 3 different divisions, 3 levels. But statistically, I just went and looked at the RPI, looked at the numbers. And the data says that the SWAC West is actually the better group right now, because as I go through, I looked at 2 different ranking systems in softball. Prairie View, Southern, who is outside of the top 5, go get that. So, the Southern folks ought to be a little miffed. And Texas Southern all rank higher than any team from the East, including my beloved Florida A&M University Rattlers. And 2 schools rank higher than Howard University. Now, this is based on RPI. So while we're looking at Howard, who ain't played nobody, but Sisters of the Poor pitching staff. But I mean, okay, it's great. Howard continues to do what they do over there against nobody. But I think if I were Texas Southern, and especially if I was Southern, I'd be looking at this like, oh, no respect, huh? Okay, fine. Again, this all gets to play out beautifully in the SWAC tournament, where the West has done horribly of late, right?
No, that's
of
true.
late. So the West, if we get to find out, maybe this is the year where the West is not as poor as their record has shown, So I'm just kind of sit back and I'm like, okay, here we are coming into the final weekend or 2, and we're just going to kind of see how the seeding plays out. I'll be curious to see how it does play out.
Man, Ryan has a lot of talking points there. I will talk about this. Howard split against FAMU. That was in the Campbell Stampede. They defeated Alabama A&M out of the East. They lost to Southern out of the West, to your point. They did beat Texas Southern out of the West. And the scores was Alabama A&M 11-1. Southern was a loss 5-8. Texas Southern was a victor 7-4. And they beat North Carolina A&T 4-2. Alcorn game was canceled. So just some points of reference, but great points that you made there, particularly going to the database in terms of strength and rankings. Good stuff.
Yeah, first day back in the lab, I didn't want to just be all orange and green biased, so.
You're right. That's going to make
He's going to say that for Sunday.
Yeah, I was about to say, hell, I didn't have softball RPI in my data book today.
Go ahead, Charles. Keep it going. Keep going deep like that. Jackson State is in the poll rankings.
Jackson State in the poll rankings.
You got 2 teams from the West, 2 teams from the East. Southern, I think, has really balanced out the West as they've gotten back in the softball business. They do have 2 of 3 they took from Southern. They did get 1 of the games from Prairie View in terms of that. So, Prairie View swept Southern, but Texas Southern got 1 of the games from Prairie View to open things up before Prairie View took the last 2. So a lot of variables there in terms of what that looks like, but fascinating when you talk about the West may be a little stronger in terms of the top, which the East being a little deeper in terms of maybe 4 teams in the mix. Where are you in terms of this top 5, Charles, with those?
Interesting, because I'm looking. I have Jackson State at 15-5 in conference play, but it makes for a fascinating matchup this upcoming weekend with Jackson State going to Tallahassee, take on Florida A&M. So that is one. When we talk about games that are pique your interest. Obviously, that will pique your interest, but I think Prairie View going down to Baton Rouge, taking on Southern this weekend. That's another one that's going to be intriguing with regards to what might happen down there in that series. Last series of the regular season going into the tournament. So who gets that momentum going into the tournament next week? So that's going to be kind of fascinating to sit back and watch.
And you're correct. The rankings are, in terms of conference standing, Jackson State 15-5, one game back in the loss column against FAMU. Now, FAMU does have 2 more wins in terms of playing a couple of more games than Jackson State in terms of some rainouts. AD, go ahead and give your final thoughts.
Well, it's really going to be interesting. I know we're not into baseball, but 1 versus 2 in both baseball and softball occurring this weekend in Tallahassee with Jackson State, FAMU in softball, FAMU Bethune.
Come on, SWAC TV
in baseball. But getting back to this poll though, might need to move Prairie View to number 1, Dr. Cavil. I'm gonna give you the why. I'm gonna give you 2 reasons why. Number 1, just studying all 3 teams have dominated in conference 1, 2, and 3. But when you look at their out of conference record, if I was to rank it, I would think Prairie View has better non-conference wins than the other 2 combined.
Yep.
So that's number 1. Number 2, looking at another rating system, which I like to go to called Massey. Prairie View is 195 in Massey. Howard is 213. FAMU is 222. So those are 2 reasons why I moved Prairie View to the number 1 slot right now, Dr. Cavil.
Oh, they got to win.
Boy, Mike would be proud of these guys right here.
Oh my God! They sitting at the front of the class.
He would lose it.
Softball RPI.
Oh,
man!
Hey, way to show out, gentlemen. In all seriousness, good information, making sure that we are doing our homework and giving the women what they deserve in terms of some much needed updates in terms of where we thoughts. Obviously, you can throw this in and mix it all up. You have some tournaments coming up, particularly in the SWAC. It should be fascinating. Let's take our last break and come back. And we'll do a little more talking what they teased out. Some of these big matchups coming in this week. We'll start with softball, but we got to tease out a little bit about baseball. We have what everybody loves. We have a matchup, both, as you said, division-wise in terms of softball and baseball. Only 1 lineup, no divisions, if you would. We got a 1 versus 2 tied records. Boy, between 2 teams that like each other, not as much as they don't like each other. Put it that way. We'll be right back on the other side.
Greetings, Santos. My name is Roland Austin, and I'm one of the directors at the 1876 Athletic Foundation. The 1876 Athletic Foundation was formed to promote the success of all 343 student athletes. Our overall goal is to fund scholarships for all of our student athletes. We ask that you help us in achieving this goal by donating to the 1876 Athletic Foundation via the QR code below or 1876.foundation. Your generous donation will help us continue to assist the needs of all of our Panther athletes. Thanks, and go Panther.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
Compress the analytic data with your hip-hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is out on assignment, so we have none other than the sports wrap that you usually get on Sunday night. We got them putting in a little overtime as they join us here in the lab. That's AD Drew and Brian Fulford, Brian and AD Sports Wrap. With that being said, let's get into some of these matchups. Let's start on the ladies' side. I'm going to bring them down, all of them. Obviously, we'll feature a little more in terms of what game may be interesting. I think what that looks like, obviously. But you have, in terms of this week coming up, starting on Thursday, actually you have Arkansas Pine Bluff at Alcorn State. That is in Loma. And then you have Grambling State at Texas Southern. You have Alabama A&M at Bethune-Cookman, Prairie View at Southern, and you have Jackson State at FAMU, Mississippi Valley State at Alabama State. I think there's two that gonna keep everybody intrigued, and they're both divisional games. With that being said, one of them has a lot on the line with just a one-game difference in terms of loss column. A little different, but still momentum-wise, it'll be fascinating to see what that looks like. Charles, starting with you, where is your interest? I think I know, but why?
To see if Jackson State can get some of that get back. They dropped 2 or 3 when FAMU came to Jackson, but very interesting to see what Jackson State is able to put together this weekend down in Tallahassee.
Go to you, Drew. What are your thoughts this weekend in terms of softball key matchups?
Do I need to stay in this conference, or can I switch to the other conference?
You know you can always switch. We have mid-major and major. It's on you.
All right. No, I want to go. I want to start off with the in the MEAC, Howard and Norfolk State. One versus it's a 1-4 matchup on paper, but that's definitely going to be an intriguing matchup as people look. Norfolk can sweep Howard, and Howard's still going to be in first place by about 3 miles. So, but just to give them a reality check and to bring them back down to earth would be was going to be definitely interesting. And going to my conference, the SIAC, actually SIAC is off this week as they prepare for their tournament next week, Dr. Cavil. So and I would like to kind of get into those pairings for the tournament, but I want Brian go first. Oh, you want me to go ahead and go with it? Although it's not been published on the website, so I don't know if there is some discrepancies out there. They maybe some people trying to do some makeup games, but right now going through the East, Albany State's your 1 seed in the East. Savannah State is your 2 seed. Edward Waters is your 3 seed, even though they are both tied record-wise. And Fort Valley snuck into the number 4 slot. They had to beat Albany State on Sunday to get into the 4th slot, because if they would have lost that game, they would have been tied with Clark Atlanta, and Clark Atlanta had the season series, so Clark Atlanta would have gotten the tiebreaker to get them in.
Boy, you talking about the little things.
Yeah. Over on the west side, Tuskegee is number 1 at 21-1. Spring Hill, 20-2 at number 2. Miles is 3 at 13-9 with Lemoyne on. Sneaking in the back door, 8-14. Rules say you got to have 4 from this conference, so Lemoyne on just happens to be in the 4th slot. So that brings your first round matchups to be Albany State and Lemoyne on.
Won't be a problem.
Edward Waters and Miles. Savannah State, Spring Hill, Tuskegee, Fort Valley. And when we have these cross-conference matchups in the tournament, the thing is, what you never see it 2-2. Will it be 3-1? And which conference is the 3-1 in favor of? Is it in favor of the West, or is it in favor of the East? I'm putting my money. Actually, this may be the first time after day 1 that in a long time that I think it may actually be 2-2.
2-2. Yeah, I agree with you.
I normally in the SIAC it's always heavy West after the first day, so I think this time it's actually going to be 2-2 with a small chance of being 3-1 East.
Good stuff. Great job, Brian. In terms of matchups, games to watch. I think I know where you are, but I gotta ask you.
Well, while yes, I am fascinated. FAMU's magic number is 1. right now. Just need to win one win over Jackson State to clinch the East. With a 2-game lead over Jackson State. So you only got to win one game here in these final 3. Prefer that happen on Friday and not be, playing around with Saturday doubleheaders, senior day, all those ceremonies and all the stuff, the emotions of that. Now, let's go ahead and let's finish the Tigers off on Friday, so that way we can go ahead and celebrate on Saturday.
You have such a gleam in your eye when you say that. My goodness. Yeah.
Anyway, look, see, Charles, you almost had me there. I was about to say something. I said, no, I'm not going to do it. I almost did it. I almost said something, about tennis and everything, but I passed. But anyway, that's fascinating to me. That'll be a good series, I think. And then also, hey, look, the West Division, Prairie View's already clinched the West, but for Southern, who's sitting in the 2 spot, it means a lot because it may be the last opportunity you get to make a statement going into the playoffs, or the tournament rather. And so I'm curious to see how good Southern softball is. Are they really, are they tough enough to take down Prairie View? And you know what? Do you know who actually the winningest Division I HBCU softball team is right now? It is not Howard. It is not Prairie View. It is not Florida A&M or Jackson State or any of these other schools we talked about. No, I just discovered this, so I'm like, I'm breaking news. Maybe I'm not, but the Delaware State Hornets are the hottest team in Division I HBCU softball right now. They've won 13 consecutive, 17 of the last 18. Now, some folk might want to put a little asterisk by it and say all this came after losing a 3-game series to Howard. Do with that what you want, but winning 17 of 18, that's a month of good softball. So when you have played a month of good softball, when you roll back around in the tournament and see Howard again, those ladies from Delaware State are going to they're going to be playing with a whole different level of confidence than maybe they had when they played Howard the first time they met them. So that'll be interesting. Can Delaware State keep their winning ways going into the MEAC tournament?
Good stuff. Go over to baseball. Before I do that, I do have this question. Who's Crowley's Ridge? It's been canceled, so I'll leave that alone. Then Adrian was being mean out here. He's calling it Amlin State. He said PV took the R, so I'm still trying to figure out who took the G. I guess that was Jackson.
Wow.
They struggling. They lost the G and the R. With that being said, when we look at baseball matchups, we know where one of the major matchups, if not the matchup, being a 1 versus 2, the Kona poll rankings, when you look at it, that's going to be teams at the top of the conference. It's probably a 1 versus 2 rankings. We'll release that on Thursday officially. That's who 1 and 2 were going into this weekend. They didn't lose. So that would be strange if something changed there. But you have Alcorn State at Grambling. You have Jackson State at Alabama A&M. You have Texas Southern at Prairie View, the rivalry there. You have Bethune-Cookman at FAMU. Arkansas Pine Bluff at Southern. Mississippi Valley State at Alabama State. Charles, I'll let you kick this off. Where are your interests in terms of this weekend, in terms of the big matchup?
Obviously, I think the Bethune-FAMU series, everybody will be paying attention to that. But I think a sneaky one to pay attention to is Arkansas Pine Bluff and Southern. That's the one that also I'm going to be paying attention to. Southern's won 7
hot teams.
Two hot teams, and Pine Bluff taking 2 of 3 from Texas Southern this past weekend was, I think, huge for their program in terms of really paying attention to what they're doing over there at Pine Bluff. I know Texas Southern didn't throw their Sunday starter. Was dealing with some elbow issues, but it's going to be very interesting to see Pine Bluff coming down to Baton Rouge this weekend. Hot Southern team. They're playing that Southern baseball. They're stealing bases all over the place. They got 104 stolen bases. But I tell you, what's so impressive, though, that let me pivot to Bethune-Cookman. Not only are the best hitting team, best pitching team in the league, but damn, they also lead the league in stolen bases. They got 120 stolen bases on the team.
And not to speak of Bethune-Cookman, as Zach McKinnell was talking about, they're tied with UCF.
They're 4-3 now, Bethune.
Bottom of the sixth.
Yeah,
they're what?
It's 4-3 Bethune now.
Bethune, yeah.
With Bethune still batting.
Look at that. They just do it differently. Brian, you talked about this, though. You said on Sunday they would get UCF, but they would get triggered as they go to Tallahassee with 2 out of 3. Where are you with that matchup? Because it's fine. You can talk about that matchup. It is the key matchup. But give us a little more insight.
Honestly, I want to get a game in this. Last year we got swept by Bethune.
I forgot that. Ooh.
Yeah. This year, I don't look. I have to sort of see. Here's what I look. There's a difference in philosophies here. The way Florida A&M attacks midweek games versus what Bethune-Cookman does in midweeks. And I think because of the success that Bethune has had in midweeks, it's worthy of praise and recognition. And I think what is easy to do is to really go into this series and think they have that much more of an advantage than Florida A&M. And I will just tell everyone to be cautious of that, because as Florida A&M prepares to go into this with their top pitchers and their hitters, this is going to be an interesting matchup. I really hope that being at home makes a difference. I would love to be able to see FAMU take 2 of 3. I'm not going to predict the sweep, but give me 2 out of the 3. Give me a series win. But more importantly, I want to see 3 great games. That's what I want to see. If FAMU were to lose 2 of 3 and those 2 losses were by a run in the 8th or 9th inning, you know what? Hey, it's going to be tough, but I don't know. I can't make a prediction because I'm even thrown off a little by what I see Bethune do in the midweek. And it's like, are they really that good? They're good. No shade. But I just keep saying, are they really that good? Are they that much better? And I will just say, just pump the brakes and let's wait to see how this weekend plays out.
Caleb Granger, does he throw Friday?
Yes, he should throw Friday.
It'll be Granger Sanchez Friday?
Should be. Okay. Granger's been throwing Fridays all season, all SWAC season.
Okay.
Great points made by all of y'all. A couple of final points I'll put on here.
You didn't let me get mine in.
Oh, I sure didn't. I started on the last one. Go ahead, AD Drew.
I'll get
my final points in.
I'll be brief. For me, the most interesting one is the race at the bottom for me. And that's going to be Alabama State and Valley. We're not used to seeing Alabama State 6, 7, 8, 9 in the standings. When's the last time Alabama State has not been relevant in baseball? And at the same time, let's ask the question, when is the last time Valley has been relevant in baseball? Well, those 2 roads collide this weekend in Montgomery, Alabama. Just put this in perspective. Should Valley sweep Alabama State, they will be tied with the records. Their records will be tied after this weekend, and Valley will own the all-important tiebreaker with these 2, as as these three teams, those two teams, along with Jackson State and Grambling, all play around in that 5, 6, 7, 8 slot. Somebody has to be left out.
Yeah, I think that Jackson and Valley are going to be interesting for the AC. Somebody might get hot.
But Jackson State's schedule eases up toward the end of the season.
Yeah, it really does. They did have a tougher opponents, but it still makes for interesting theater with what has happened thus far. And just as Jackson State's schedule gets easier, Valley's schedule gets that much harder.
Damn, coming with a bullpen game tonight. Goodness.
I'm telling you, that's the crazy part, right? I mean, I'm just.
Oh yeah, I mean they can play. I mean, at some point you got to recognize they play some good baseball. One of the things I wanted to say, both of y'all made some good points. And Brian, to your point is, I think some of those folks talking out there, they're not watching baseball. They might be watching records. They get the feed off of social media. To the point, Bethune-Cookman has some good wins. That's who you're talking to. Those that are watching baseball knows number one thing is this is a rivalry game. So all that other stuff sounds good. I would think that, generally speaking, Bethune-Cookman, even in conference games, has played a little better than FAMU, but the game is in Tallahassee, and we know when these folks line up, right, all that other stuff that you want to talk about goes out the window. These are some good matchups, and the good thing is for us that like to watch this kind of stuff, it's on SWAC TV. You also have that sneaky good one, Mississippi Valley at Alabama State, SWAC TV. It doesn't list Prairie View, but Prairie View pretty much has all this stuff on SWAC TV. So even that rivalry with Texas Southern, to see if they can bounce back, that's on TV, even though Prairie View is struggling, so nothing there. The only one that you have to keep your eyes on in terms of that's outside of SWAC TV with Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and Southern, and in that region, people will be able to catch that. The other thing that was intriguing is I think Zach brought this up, and I know my man Raymond Fire said it's too early for that, but I think it's never too early. That's why we have talk TV, talk sports, talk YouTube, whatever, particularly when we get into it. With the question, is it feasible that Bethune-Cookman could earn a 3 seed? I think at the pace they're going, if they can finish off the season in regular season champs, at least tied for it, and win the tournament, I think there's likely they will actually have a 3 seed. Now, the 2 seed, I think, is a little far-fetched. They need a couple of things to go their way. But I think a 3 seed is in the marbles. I think they do have an argument of trying to push towards a 2 seed, but they have to have quite a bit of things kind of regionally work out for them. But
the only thing about that 3 seed, they probably won't stay in the Southeast region. As if they're a 4 seed, they're going to wind up going.
That's what I was thinking.
Florida State. If they're a 3 seed, they're going to travel.
Yeah, which may not be a bad thing in terms of getting out of this region with a lot of the bigger brands in the area. But it'll be fascinating, and we know one thing, regardless. If they can get there, they're going to play some good baseball. But that can be said for some of the other top things. FAMU represented really well. You know, obviously Alabama State is not where they were, but when they did it, they had well. And even going back to Jackson State, when they got in the tournament, when they had the big upset. So we've had our teams to get in the tournament. Texas Southern with a win over Rice. Prairie View should have got a win over Rice. When those teams are rolling and playing hot, they can play some good baseball. But the next step is finding a way to get out of that super regional. So it'll be interesting to see what that looks like. But I think at this point, what's exciting for us that follow baseball, we have some very exciting baseball in that SWAC tournament. Boy, will it be magical. But we got to start this weekend with a matchup that features the top 2 teams in the conference tied at number 1, which is the beautiful thing about the SWAC. Unlike the MEAC that has some really good sports and everything, they don't have baseball within the conference. So things kind of slow down. They have to go back and talk a little more about the football. While football is always high and king, particularly with folks that talk about Grambling not having a GRR, and what they're going to do in Baton Rouge is fascinating. Even to talk about Alabama State and Jackson State and FAMU, regardless of fascinating when you talk about football. But we get to be able to be entertained by baseball and really good softball as well. So thank you for listening inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. Brian, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to take a second, Doc, and as you were talking earlier about being able to watch all this on SWAC TV, we're watching right now a couple of big things happening right now in Daytona Beach. One, the fact that Coach Hernandez and Daytona Beach were able to host this game against a Big 12 opponent, UCF. And part of that is due to the improvements at that facility that they play at, which is probably now one of the nicer ballparks that, schools in the SWAC. And I know when I talked to him a couple of weeks ago, he was excited about the advantage, the fact that now you can host home and homes and you can host a UCF and there'd be no, hey, you're in a great ballpark. I mean, you
got to add the fact of how they played against other teams also makes it easier for teams to say, we'll play you home and away because you have the facility and you're not going to kill our rankings because you're playing some good baseball.
Nice facility.
It shows you that it can be done.
It can be done. And then the fact that you see this on SWAC TV, shout out to the Cat Eye Network, providing good coverage, good play-by-play announcers. Please, everybody get some play-by-play announcers.
First day. He said it's more to come.
Good camera work.
It's nice.
I'm telling you, man, they got it figured out over there in Daytona Beach. I'm a little jealous, but anyway, that's the exciting thing. That's the exciting thing. So SWAC TV, man, big day for SWAC TV. So enjoy watching the games after you log off with us. I know I'm gonna get some popcorn and watch these last three innings or so. I know that
2.5 innings, and they just pitched out of a jam. They had
I just saw that.
Excuse me, a 2-out triple, but he was able to pitch out the jam. Now they go to the bottom of the 7th, up 4-3.
Good stuff. Great update. Way to close. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington out on assignment, Charles Bishop, AD Drew, Brian Fulford, Brian and AD of Sports Rap. And you can tell that this is not just something that we do. This is how we do it in terms of giving you insight that you can't get anywhere else. On not just football, which certainly we can provide that, not just basketball, but we're going to go inside it wherever you have HBCU sports, coaching changes, and all that dialogue. We're going to give you everything you know, play by play, and much, much more. Again, I want to thank you for listening to Dr. Ville's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Every Tuesday, we'll be back on Thursday at 6 o'clock. And when I say play-by-play, I literally mean it with these guys. We look forward to next week as we discuss the latest news in the lab. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. That's DrKenyattaCavil, Threads, Facebook, and Instagram. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Facebook. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. Dream big. Continue to move forward. Go Wildcats. We will talk with you soon. Charles.
Of course.
AD.
Lecture.
Brian.
Dismissed.